Greetings. What's up? It's Deborah. Happy Tuesday to you. Okay, so really quickly today, I'm going to cover a lot, okay? Because this is a really controversial topic. I have made it more controversial with my, tongue-in-cheek sass about boundaries, and I want to explain to you exactly why I've done that today, and also why it's important for you to get the real scoop on boundaries, okay? So first of all, I'm Deborah. If you don't know me, I'm a Maverick, and I help other Mavericks and purpose-driven leaders to build absolute certainty from within so that no matter what, you can get out there and make the impact that you were born to make. So this topic of boundaries is really, really powerful. Tomorrow, I'm going to be teaching a free workshop in my free community. So the link is in the description. If you're not a part of that group, please come join us. We're going to have a blast, and we're going to be talking specifically about what is an alternative to our traditional boundary setting. Okay, so why have I been such a brat? Hey Maria, hi Faye, how's everyone? Why have I been such a brat? Why have I been such a rebel when I've been talking about boundaries? Normally I'm pretty more on the passive side. I'm pretty relaxed, but I totally went into rebel energy. And I didn't even mean to go into rebel energy when I started this conversation. I just jumped into it. And the reason why is because I knew, having done this now for about 4 years, I knew that I was going to get all kinds of pushback from all kinds of well-meaning, well-read, well-educated people who were going to tell me, excuse me, poor Deborah, you're wrong about boundaries. Boundaries are necessary for healthy relationships. Boundaries are necessary to be a healthy human being. Boundaries are a part of how we grow and we mature. And yes, they're not easy, but they are so necessary for us to protect our energy and to protect our sanity. Boundaries are necessary if we are to be able to have healthy, happy relationships and feel safe and okay. And I'm going to say, no, I don't agree with you. I'm going to break down for you why. But because I knew that I was going to get all of that, I started in Rebel Energy, and I started to really slowly deconstruct the praise that boundaries get in the world of personal development and relationships. And before you say to me, well, then obviously you're still young, you haven't been on the planet that long, you don't know what you're talking about. It's true, I am young, and it's true there's always more that I'm going to learn. But in this case, I'm going to say, I was in a marriage to someone who you could actually describe as a textbook narcissist in a lot of ways for several years. I went through all of the labels that people give to narcissism, to stonewalling, to gaslighting, to all of those things. And I emerged from that relationship intact, self-esteem intact, happier than ever, and then helping other people to be able to heal their own relationships. We're definitely not besties, but I still have a good relationship with that person. And I'm still teaching and influencing that person. I wouldn't have been able to do any of that if I had followed all the well-meant advice to set boundaries. Oh, I heard all of it. I heard, get out while you can be safe. I heard all of it. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you very simply the perspective of the Maverick when it comes to boundaries, especially the perspective of the global villager. So we talk about the 4 stages of disruption, right? We start out with the outlier or the outcast. We move to the rebel, then we move to the Maverick, and then we move to the global villager. Well, global village is stage 4, which is interdependence, which is recognition that we are all one. And it is a panacea. It is literally the cure-all for every problem that ails humankind today. And I'm not talking about some new human government or anything like that. I'm not into that stuff. I'm just talking about a way of thinking about ourselves as human beings, that we are fully capable of being self-governing and still respecting the rights of everyone else, each other. It's a concept that's been lost in our society. Oh my goodness, we need rules for everything. We need police for everything. We need boundaries for everything. And I'm saying no. Okay? Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic, health-wise, and we're in the middle of major unrest because of centuries of injustice and racial intolerance. And all of that can be solved if we learn the truth about boundaries. I kid you not. It's like that important. So this is why I've been very adamant about challenging the common conceptions about boundaries. It's because if we get this, if you get this and you share it with someone else and they get that and they share it with someone else and they get that, literally our world will change. This is not small stuff. So let me break it down very simply. In the world of interdependence, we're all one. That means that whether it's a caterpillar, an ant, a dolphin, an eagle, a human being, a frog, it doesn't matter. We're all connected, and we are all connected to the planet. The planet's heartbeat. It doesn't change. Through coronavirus, through civil wars, through everything you can imagine, the Earth's heartbeat does not change in pace. If you go out into the forest, it's still quiet. If you stand on the top of a mountain, it's still peaceful and inspiring. It doesn't change based on what humans are doing to each other. So I really want you to take this in. This is really important. The world of interdependence, the world of oneness, does not change based on human, what's the word I'm looking for? We're very fickle. We change our minds, we change our feelings all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that, no judgment. But I'm just simply saying that when we think that everything needs to change or we need to now put up separations, we're just feeding an illusion. We're feeding something that isn't really true. We are all connected. And no matter how many walls you build, the person on the other side is still connected to you. So all you're doing is like going against reality. That's really what's happening when people build these boundaries. Like I said, there are exceptions to this, and I understand that boundaries have been a very important tool for many people to rise from stage 1 to 2 or 3. I get that. I know how much boundaries I thought helped me earlier on, but in truth, they never really lasted. The help never lasted long term. I had to come to truth before they did. So what I'm sharing is very polarizing. I get that. You're either going to love it or hate it. It's either going to trigger the heck out of you or it's going to inspire and motivate you. And either way, I honor you. My message is not for everyone. Not everyone's ready to hear it. But for those who are, I want it to be really clear. We don't need boundaries to be healthy. We don't need boundaries to be safe. At least not the way that we're thinking about them, that we set them, that they are walls that we build and they're compartments that we create. What does nature do to walls and compartments? We talked about this on Sunday. Eventually, if you leave the wall long enough, it gets broken, it gets overgrown, the dam breaks, the water flows through. Nature is a force you cannot stop. People work so hard to maintain their walls and their little safe little coves of the world until there's a wildfire or an earthquake or a tsunami, and boom, we're back to reset, right? Like coronavirus, we're back to reset. The earth doesn't worry about the stuff that we worry about. And it's because the earth is based on, and I say the earth, I give it a persona, because it's based on truth. So as a leader, as someone who wants to take this current generation, this current group of people forward into the future, you cannot ignore that oneness is our reality. It is not boundaries, walls, prisons, labels, boxes, rooms, whatever it is that people try to do is not that. We are so much bigger than that because we're all connected. So we're all one. We're this amazing, immense force for good. And frankly, I just think that boundaries get in the way of that. Now, people will say, "Oh, Deborah, you're very boundaried. You know when to say no, and you know when to say yes." And I'll say, "Yeah, fine. If you want to say that that's boundaried, I understand, but it's coming from a completely different motivation than sticking up a wall." It's because I know I'm connected to everyone else that I understand that whatever I do, whatever I think about, whatever I feel needs to be connected. It needs to be taking into consideration more than just myself. And at the same time, me, myself, is also valid without anybody else's input. So because I understand that, I understand my intrinsic value, I'm not scared to say, I don't want to. No, thank you. I'm not scared to do that. It's the fear of being truthful, of being truly authentic that makes us put up those walls 9 times out of 10. There is 1 time out of 10 where it is truly a safety issue. And in those cases, those kinds of boundaries need to be enforced by public officials or by somebody stronger than whoever it is that's violating the boundary. Right? So that's why I'm like, that's not a world that you usually need to get into. I've had to be there before. It sucks. And I was like, I got out as quickly as I could because I was like, I don't want to even have to have these kinds of situations happen in my life. So I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I'm simply saying that most of the people who are listening to my message are interested in bringing the world forward. I know it's going to trigger the heck out of a lot of people. I get that. But in this particular case, it's not as important as putting the message out there because I know that some people will get it and will be inspired to understand that you don't have to block off your fellow human being to be able to be happy, safe, and healthy. And with that understanding and with that knowledge, we can do so much to end injustice right now. We don't have to wait for laws to pass. We don't have to wait for some other leader to go do something. We can do it ourselves by understanding that we're all connected. If we were all connected, would we really need prisons? If we were all connected, would we ever have police brutality? If we all understood how connected we are, it would solve so many of our problems. So I'm looking at the big picture, and then I'm zooming it back into me and what I can do as a leader. And what I can do as a leader is to share my mission, to share my vision, which is that we don't have to set artificial boundaries. Now, what do I mean by artificial? There is such a thing. We all have natural boundaries. Just like the earth has natural boundaries, right? Ocean to water, beach to between ocean and land, or edge of forest between pasture and forest, or mountain peak. Right? There are natural boundaries on the planet, and we all have natural boundaries. And so tomorrow in our free community, I will be talking specifically about our natural boundaries and how we can use that knowledge, that understanding of those natural boundaries to be as healthy, happy, and as safe as we need to be without setting up extra ones. Okay. I'm okay if nobody likes this video, it's okay. But I hope that you have the courage to share your questions below and to share your thoughts below, and let's have an actual open discussion. Again, I have no judgment towards anybody's perspective. I get that if you're triggered, it's okay, don't listen, just go away. But I think I believe personally that this is an extremely important topic, and that's why I faced it with the rebel energy, and now coming as of tomorrow, I'll be shifting more into the Maverick energy again and teaching the solution. Because we focus in the Maverick energy, we focus on the solution. We don't focus on the problem. We focus on the solution. But I knew that I was going to have a lot of pushback. So that's why I had to get into Rebel for a little bit there. All right. Sending love. Hopefully you'll join us in our community.